I have been married for 23 years. I got married when I was 18. I was young. I had my oldest son when I was 19. And I'm a mother of 5 boys and 1 girl. So here we go. That's when they were little. And then this is them now. So this was at my oldest son, Harrison, got married last September. And this is his wedding. And so now I have a second daughter. Our daughter is the youngest. So right now our kids' age are 22, 20, 18, 15, 13, and he's already taller than this one, and 11. So, yes, it's a very exciting and fun life. We're super grateful for God entrusting us with so many boys, because it's amazing. It's so fun. We also just welcomed our 2 grandsons. This is Ford and Jesse, or Jesse and Ford, I'm not sure. I can't tell. In person I can tell. Ford has hair, Jesse doesn't have any hair. So there they are, so sweet. They live across the street from us, so we see them all the time. Oh wait, you don't want to see that yet. Okay, so before I start, I'll leave that cute picture up there. Before I start, I just want to say that I don't want anybody to sit here and be like, oh no, I have to be the perfect mom. I hated reading parenting books because and marriage books. I once quit a Monkey Bunch Bible study that April was leading because I was like, no, I am not doing this. So I don't like parenting books. I start them and then I'm like, no. So I don't want anybody to feel like oh, I have to be the perfect mom. We don't have to be the perfect mom. God chose you to be the mother of your children. You are the perfect mother for them. Amen. And so I just want you guys to all just like chill and like, because guess what? I guarantee I'm a worse mother than you. I'm going to prove it. Okay? I have a few stories to tell to make you like to know like I am not an expert on this. When my oldest son was a baby, and we would get like the WIC checks, and they would give us this rice cereal. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like in the boxes, and he wouldn't want to eat it. I'm talking about like, I don't know, a couple months old, and I would try to give it to him, probably 6 months. I would try to give it to him with a spoon. He didn't like it, so I tasted it, and I was like, no wonder he doesn't like it. It tastes terrible. So I used to put sugar in it, so that he would eat it, and he loved it. And he ate it all the time. So there you go. One story to let you feel better about that. Same kid, fast forward, his brother is born, and at the time, my husband was struggling a lot with just like anxiety and things, and it was harder to get him to fall asleep than it was to get the kids to fall asleep. So like by time Rich was asleep, and then the babies were asleep, I'm like, I need to sleep. So our son, who was 2 at the time, would wake up in the middle of the night crying if he was hungry or whatever. So after he fell asleep, and before I went to bed, I would put an open Pop-Tart on his pillow and go to bed, so that when he woke up in the middle of the night, he had a snack and he wasn't gonna wake me up. So, and then this is the ultimate. So you wanna know like, hey, am I doing a good job? As long as you don't do this next one. Here we go. This is our trampoline. Like, I took this picture today, okay? So, this is dangerous. And this is what my kids play on. But I actually think it's good, because it teaches them to have boundaries that they have to make themselves. Like, if there was a thing here, they would just jump up against the side. So they have to know, be careful, because you might hit your head and die, or, whatever. So they do jump on it every day. Last quick story is my youngest 2 sons recently went to IRSC to take the PERT test. And while they were there, I had this horrifying feeling like, oh no, have they ever been on a computer before? Sure enough, hours later when I picked them up, Jamie was like, Mom, we've never been on a computer before. And I was like, oh no, because they only ever use tablets and like the phone now. So like they had no idea like how to type in their name. The mouse does all the like test work. So there you go. I have stories of being a bad mom from the beginning to current, all right? So make sure your kids know how to use a computer before they take a college exam. The first time I spoke on this subject earlier in the year, or was it this year? Yeah, earlier this year. I had sent a text to my boys and I had asked them, hey, I'm going, because the first time I ever shared on this, it's something that the Lord's been putting on my heart for a few years now, to share what he's taught me through being a mother of boys. So I sent them a text and I asked them, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I'll just show you their text, because I want you to realize, like, coming in here, I could say all the things and my kids could hate me, right? Like, I could be like an expert. You know how sometimes you listen to somebody and you like what is like your backstory? Like, do people even like you that are in your family? So I just want to show this, not to brag, but just to show you this. So I asked my son and what he thought. This is my son who's 22. And he said, you went out of your way to give us incredible experiences like you had when you were a kid, but you could have spanked me more and I would have understood. That's what he said. This is the one that's 20. He says, you are the sweetest, most supportive person I know. You're the backbone of all your children's hopes and dreams, and I have helped us do amazing things. Even when we were being the worst, you are always the best. I love you. You're my favorite person. And I make good tacos. This one is the one that's 18. You always made sure there was something fun going on in our lives, and the little things you did, even when we thought it was dumb at the time, like the birthday tablecloth and the birthday hat, but now it's something I really appreciate. You always wanted to give us a hug or a snuggle no matter what, and knowing that there is someone in your life who loves you no matter what is very important. This one is my 15-year-old. You did a good on saying yes to the right things and knowing what is good and what could be harmful for me, and I'm thankful for the restrictions on my phone. This one, he's 13. When it's just me and you always make me feel like I'm your only child. You're not like, I'm so overwhelmed of having 6 kids. I can't do this. You focus on me. So I don't put those out there to like say, oh, look at this, I have the greatest kids. I'm just saying that my boys appreciate the things that I'm going to share with you today. And I feel like that's what?
And boundaries.
Yeah, yes, no, they do. Kids really want boundaries.
They do.
So, no, I didn't tell them what to write. So the funny thing is, the one that said this, he's the boundary pusher. So, although that was funny, he knows he needs it. Yes. Okay. So, this is a new thing I added since last time. So, have you ever heard of this word platitude? Okay, so there's so many like platitudes, and it means a remark or a statement that may be true, but it is boring and it has no meaning because it has been said so many times before. And if you look in the other, that keeps going, it says usually in a moral or spiritual phrase, right? So I feel like in the Christian world we live in today, there are so many of these platitudes that are said, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like, just tell me like the nuts and bolts, like tell me what to do. Give me like practical everyday advice. Don't just say, train up your child in the way he should go. Like that's good, but like, what does that look like? What does the way he should go look like? Does that make sense? So I do not want to give just flowery phrases that have like empty meanings. And maybe they do have a good meaning, but like I'm going to share like really practical stuff that you might be like, that's kind of weird. But to me, it's been important throughout my life of raising my children. So I want to share my mistakes alongside of the things that I've learned in a good way. So at the beginning of, actually last year sometime, I had read the 1 Corinthians 13, and he showed it to me kind of like toward my kids. Like, what does this look like toward kids? Because when we say love is patient and kind and all this, God is love, right? So this is how he feels toward us. He's patient with us. He's kind. He's not jealous. So, and we're supposed to reflect him to our children. So what does it look like to be patient with your kids, kind with your kids, not jealous, all that? So we're going to go through that today. I kind of broke it down, and I have some things in between. Before we start, I'm just going to read it. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable. It keeps no records of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. We're going to go through these. starting kind of like with ages. So we're gonna start with the toddler age. I skipped infant because everybody loves infants. It's easy, right? Well, unless you have two and they're crying all night, but that's different. So you're gonna see a theme. I'm only gonna change the slides every once in a while. It's mostly follow along on your paper. So the first one I say is hug, hug, hug. You hug your toddler, okay? You hug them and you love them and you give them comfort. And I recently was talking to somebody and they were like, hey, when did you first start hugging your kids? And I was like, that's a weird question. I mean, like, I never started, like from the minute they were born. Like I didn't just one day decide, okay, now it's time to make sure I'm hugging them. They need me like hugged since they're little. And I think that I have this written here, that if you want your kids to come to you for comfort when they are teens and adults, then be the one that comforts them from the time they are born. So, you'll see people who have grown kids and they're real close to their mom. And you're like, well, how did that happen? Well, it doesn't happen when they're a teenager. It happens from the time they're little. And it has to not stop. Like you to keep that, you keep it cultivated. So I do want to play this one clip. Does this take sound, do you know? Okay, so I have a clip, a Joe Rogan clip from this guy, and honestly I don't know anything about the guy, so you could I can't believe you're playing this guy. I have no idea who it is, but he talks about the difference between properly hugging your kids and having a selfish motive for hugging your kids. So I just want to play this real quick.
So there's a study that I quote in the book where they looked at 1,000 or several hundred women, new mothers, and how they related to their infants. And most of them related very well. Some were not that available, and some were extra doting and extra coddling, you might say, with their infants. They looked at the adults 35 years later. The people that were the most independent and successful and self-actualized were the ones that were super loved by their mothers. Okay. Now, and the conclusion of the researchers was you can't love children too much. Now, the case that you describe is not too much loving, but loving that comes from a very anxious place. So these mothers that coddle their kids when the kids doesn't need coddling, they're not doing it because the child needs it. They're doing it because they need it.
Right.
They're doing it because they were not coddled enough.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that, it's not the kind of, oh, I'm feeling sad, so I need a kid to come fulfill my needs. That's not the kind of hugging and stuff. I'm saying going out of your way to give your kids affection and let them know that you love them and just hug them all the time. So, does that make sense? All right, so the first one, there's a blank spot if you want to write in, is love is... this is number 2. So not all of them have the love is part, but this is the first one with the love is part. It is love is patient. And I have this whole thing about let boys be boys, okay? So I cannot stand when I hear a mom and she's like, oh, my son is the worst. He's always getting into things. He's always doing this. He's always doing that. And all she's describing is a boy who's being a boy. And that is it breaks my heart because we're always telling little boys stop acting like that, be more like your sister, don't climb on that, don't do this. And I think that we need to never punish them for being a boy. If they start being too active or whatever, have them do, they're driving you crazy, have them do something active. Have them do push-ups. Or have them jump on the trampoline, just not my trampoline, get your own trampoline, okay? So have them do something active to get those feelings out. And when they're older, and let's say a teenager, and they've got all these feelings, they'll learn from what you teach them when they're younger, oh, I need to go for a run. I've got all this, built up, or I need to go to the gym, and I see that with my boys today. So some of my older boys, they're feeling agitated and is hey, Dad, you want to go to the gym? So start that when they're little. When they're driving you nuts, say, hey, let's go run around the house. I have a friend, she tells her son to run around the house however many laps, just at the outside of the house, okay. And then that's what she does. So there's ways to get them to, because I think many times we want to just give them a video game or TV, and that's not going to fix the problem. They need to get their energy out. But they should never be punished for just being a boy. I would say if you're tempted to just give them the TV or an iPad or video games or whatever, these are suggestions. I know you're probably like, okay, whatever. But like, my kids loved blocks when they were little. They would play outside. I love this photo so much because every single one of my kids is doing something. They didn't know I took it, all playing together when they were little. And then when they were a little bit older, we would get like cardboard boxes and duct tape, and they would make weapons with their friends and just have these battles at Charles Park. The walkers didn't like it very much, but it's okay. But no, I mean, it's like, hey, get all these boys together and just be boys and make weapons and have fun, and it's a beautiful thing because that's the way that God made them. He put that inside of them. Other things that the kids loved were Matchbox cars, Magna-Tiles. We had a sandbox, always had a sandbox. Some of our kids were very creative, wanted to just be in the sand. It'd be like, they're being crazy, like, you know what, you go out to the sandbox by yourself because they need alone time and to just do something. So that's one. Number 3 is force a quiet time. Oh wait, look, I want to show you this. My boys are still doing crazy things together. This was last year up in North Carolina, but they're just like adventure all the time. So I just love that picture of them still playing together. So back to the page here. On number 3, I have like force a quiet time. So you might be like, hey, this contradicts number 2. Number 2 is let them be crazy. Yeah, let them be crazy. But then you also need to teach them that it's okay to be bored. Because I think today, even adults, we don't know how to be bored. And kids need to know it's okay to do nothing. And by nothing, I mean nothing. Like, sit on the couch, here's your blanket, nothing. And just think about the day or think about whatever. So I would highly suggest doing this after they've done the crazy, activities. Let them be active and then say, okay, now it's time for a quiet time. Even if it's a short one, just teach them to be okay without stimulation. Does that make sense? Okay, so number 4, it is love is not rude. So I told you earlier I don't like reading parenting books. James Dobson had a book called Bringing Up Boys. I might have read like 2 chapters, but one thing that I'll never forget that I read in that book that I think is phenomenal is that you give them a warning, especially boys. I don't know if girls are this way. Girls seem to be able to like snap to it pretty quick. But like boys, you have to give them a warning when you're gonna change what you're doing. So let's say you're gonna be leaving in 10 minutes. You need to let them know like, hey, in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is you're in the middle of doing, we're going to be stopping that and getting ready to leave. Or if you're at the park, because for some reason boys have a really hard time with like, hey, we're leaving right now, and to them it feels like, wait, what, and so that's why I put it in the rude category, because if you know how a boy's brain is hardwired but yet you still just throw things on them the last second, it's kind of rude. And I'm not saying like there are times where they have to listen immediately, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about like as far as like planning and stuff, just give them a warning. And my sister does this with her, or my sister-in-law, she has like a timer, and so she like that they have on the counter or whatever, and she'll set it and say, when this timer goes off, we're doing the next thing, which is helpful too with like homeschooling. I don't know if any of you homeschool or whatever, like be able to be like, okay, we're switching from this to this in this many times. So that's just a practical one. Number 5 is to give them chores starting at an early age. There are many age appropriate chores that you can give your kids, and it's funny because a lot of times it's easier just to do yourself, and a lot of times as moms we're just like, I'm just gonna do all this. It's easier than to like watch them do this. It's so frustrating, but there's different things you can do at a young age. They can take out the bathroom trash, they can fold their clothes, even if they don't fold them right, just give them their pile and say, hey, you fold these are your clothes. Another one is like fix the pillows on the couch. Silly, but something that little kids can do. I know for my boys, they did really, really well with like a chore chart, so they can see it because they're visual. So there was a couple that I found. This one is, I used to have one similar to this, very simple, and it's like they get to do something and they feel accomplished. So there's a lot of them where you can, what do you call it? customize what's in the thing. And another one that we used to do at some point, this one we did more for school, was the stickers. Kids love stickers. But a chore chart, it not only makes it like, oh, I did this, but they actually sometimes want to do it. It makes them want to do something. So I highly suggest, if you are a mother of boys, to get a chore chart. I've had many chore charts throughout the years, because they would grow out of, this one's like little baby-ish, and then they're a little older and they get a new one. So number 6 is bring God into everyday situations and talk about them, the Bible, often. My favorite portion of scripture is Deuteronomy 6, 5 through 9. Yeah, I think it's on the back of that page. Deuteronomy 6, 5 through 9 says, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. And you must commit yourself wholeheartedly to these commands that I've given you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you are on the road. And when you are going to bed and when you are getting up. Tie them on your hands and wear them on your forehead as a reminder. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." So it literally says talk about it while you're walking, while you're driving. I mean, it doesn't say driving, but the same thing. Just talk about it. Talk about God. Talk about, not in a preachy way, like in a, isn't God amazing? Like, look at this. This is awesome. Whatever, you're passing by in the car. Or when a situation happens that something good happened. The other day, my son and I were praying that it wouldn't rain on this one day. And then it didn't. And so it's like, hey, we prayed about it. It didn't rain. Like, bringing God into everything. And then his word, talking about God's word as the guide for that. God's word is what guides us and where we find wisdom for all situations. I recently heard of an analogy, I think it's on your pages, about how if we were a sailboat or a ship, that God's word is the lighthouse, the rudder, the engine, and the sail. So we look to him in all situations. He is what is guiding us through his word. So a lot of times, that's where like some of those like platitude-y things come in, and we're just like, oh, trust in the Lord. But I don't mean it in that way. Like, I'm talking about like little everyday things, like bringing God in and saying, okay, what happened at school? This happened? Okay, well, what does God's word say about it when someone is mean to you? Just that kind of thing. Always bring it back to God's word. Number 7 I have is take turns praying. From a very young age, teach your kids to pray, and don't criticize their prayers, because I mean, not that you would, but I have heard people like, this is how you need to pray and whatever. But I think let them pray. They're just talking to God. And when they're little, as they grow up, they're not afraid to pray in front of others. Something I do besides raising boys is I coach middle school girls basketball, because I do have one daughter. But and it's sad because there's like 15 girls on that team, but only like 2 or 3 are willing to pray. Like, we pray at the end. And I'm not judging them. It's just, I think that they've never done it in front of people. So not that you have to, but it is something that, like, as you get older, I mean, how many women I know, like, I don't know what to say when I pray in front of people. So just teach them to pray and go around like when we do school in the morning, I homeschool, my younger 3 are still homeschooled. I make each one of them pray, and it doesn't have to be long, just something, so they get used to that. Another thing is like, what do we pray? One thing I really like is this acronym for kids. It's really easy. It's PRAY, praise, repent, ask, yield. And that's an easy way, because even sometimes as moms, like, what are we supposed to pray about? I don't know. But that's a good thing, where we just praise God for who he is, repent for what we've done wrong, and ask him to help us, and then yield to what he wants and what's in his word. Number 8, I added this time. This is a funny one. Okay. Don't let your kids watch TV in the car. Like, I'm sorry if you do, and you're going to think I'm mean. But, like, let me tell you why. There's multiple reasons. 1, creation is beautiful. Okay? We live in the most beautiful place. Like, in Florida is amazing. Let them look out the window and see and talk about it. The other thing is, you might be like, oh, I can't, I need them to be quiet. We live in a really small town. I mean, you can't go 5 minutes without putting on a TV. Like, come on, let them look outside. And it might be hard at first because they've been watching it since they were born. But just try it. And the other thing is, when they get their license, they don't need to know. You don't have to teach them where things are. They know where everything is. in town because they've been watching since the time we were born. None of my kids have ever had to teach them, like, this is where Target is, this is where church is, because they already know, because they've been looking out the window their whole lives. So that one probably doesn't feel good to some people, and I'm sorry. I'm just... So number 9 is love is not irritable. And we're not to the young boys yet. We're still in the toddler. Okay, so we have an open door policy for our bedroom. Some people don't agree with this, and that's okay. When I was a kid, my parents' door was locked. When they went in there, it was locked. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't get them. If you were hurt, if you were crying or whatever, they were in there. And it was like, go to your sister, you know? So I remember being really sad and scared at times, but we couldn't do anything about it. So I never wanted that for my kids. So we always have the door open when we go to sleep at night. And I think like the enemy comes and attacks at night and gives bad dreams. Kids have bad feelings. And I think they need to know that they can come to you at any time in the night and that you are a refuge for them when they're not feeling like safe or whatever. So we have a son who lives across the street from us. He bought the house across the street. He's 20 years old, and he'll call me at like midnight and be like, hey mom, can I come over there and get in bed with you? Like, yeah, sure. He comes over and he's alone in his house, and I don't know if he's just feeling sad or whatever, but like, I want them to know that no matter what, no matter the time of day, they can come and we are there for them. So obviously there are times that you have to shut the door. I'm not talking about that. Lock the door. We have a lock. I'm talking about when you're in bed sleeping, have that door open so that they know they can come to you. This is a huge, huge thing. Because we want them to come to us throughout their life when there's something hard. And a lot of times for kids, hard things happen in the night. So, all right. Moving on to the young boy age, 5 to 8. Again, you can see number 10. What do I have there? Hug, hug, hug. Okay, so hug your little boys that are like starting to get rowdy. Just hug them. And I always, whenever I'm hugging them, I make sure like I linger. I don't just like one quick hug. And I also like tell them, you are so handsome. You are my favorite. You are amazing. And I think that our words are so powerful both ways, right? We can build up with our words or we can tear down. So if we're always like, why are you so stinky? Why are you so messy? Why are you so whatever? Like sometimes we do have to have harsh words, but make sure we're countering the harsh words with words, loving words of, you are amazing. There's this thing in our house. Every single one of them is my favorite. So if I say it to one of them and they all hear it, they're like, hey, that's what she said to me yesterday or whatever. So just tell them they're amazing. And I think that in the world we live in today with like social media and stuff, like the enemy is constantly coming at them with negative words that tear down. And so we need to combat Satan's lies with powerful words of encouragement and you know, just letting them know they're amazing because they are amazing. Number 11 is the love does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever truth wins out. So this doesn't apply to all kids, but a couple of my kids have a lot of like insecurities. And I would say it is very important to not feed into their insecurity. We need to like tell them the truth about it. So whatever they're going through, we need to not feed into it. If someone is mean to them or calls them a name, don't coddle them and say, oh, you poor baby. Like, no, say, this is what I say with my daughter. She deals with it because she has 5 brothers, right? So they say things that are not nice. Hey, newsflash, my boys are not very nice sometimes. They'll call her mean names. And so she'll come to me and say, Jamie said whatever. And I'm like, well, is that true? No. Let's say he says she's ugly. Well, are you ugly? No. Okay, then don't, like, move on. Who cares what he thinks? He's a stupid teenage boy. So, like, don't feed into the, oh, you're not ugly, you're so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to do that. We don't want them to dwell on their insecurities and whatever. We need to turn it around and say, that is not true, and tell them the truth. Sometimes, if they've heard something that is true, like, let's say somebody says, you stink. And it was like, well, do you stink? And they smell themselves and they're like, I do. Okay, well, let's fix that. go take a shower, or talk about how you can fix it. And then I just think it's so important that we don't let our kids have a victim mentality, because in the end it will hurt them. We should not play into their insecurities and let them be a victim. Instead, let our praises be louder than any negativity they hear from even anyone else, even themselves. So it kind of goes with the other one that I was mentioning earlier about when I like hug them and say good things to them. Number 12 is teach them to serve others. Let them see you serving others, but always let them know that you are their first ministry. Sometimes we have to step away from good things that serve others if it is taking time from our number one ministry. So what I mean by that is sometimes as moms, we can get involved in way too many things. April knows. I'm like the queen of being involved in way too many things, and then you can not be taking care of the people that you're most supposed to take care of. So you need to model that with your kids, like, I am serving you because you are my most important thing. And then teach them, okay, who's the most important in your life that you need to be serving? And then as a family, we like to do like missions type things. So like do that kind of stuff together, but they need to always know that they are your number one ministry, your number one focus as far as like serving goes. And then just teach them as they get older that they need to, when they have a wife, she's their number one besides God. And when they have kids, they're their number one. Teach them how to properly serve, not to be serving just everybody so that they get the glory for it, but to have their priorities straight in that area. Number 13 is love is not proud. Apologize when you are wrong. Apologizing when you are wrong, whether it is just anger or you made a mistake. Teach them humility by being able to admit to fault. Pride keeps us from apologizing. Teach them what humility is by admitting when we're wrong. This is a hard one for me because like I never want to be wrong. Like when my husband and I get in a fight, 99% of the time I'm right. And so the 1% that I've been wrong, it just didn't go well. He still ended up having to apologize. Otherwise it was just never going to end. So like this one's hard for me. But they need to see that. And I will say my oldest son is so good with that. If because him and I are so much alike. And let's say we're in an argument and then he realizes he's wrong. He's like, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You're right. Not in a rude way, but like, oh, it's so freeing. So teach your kids to apologize and be humble, because literally pride is the worst. Like go through the Bible, read all the stories of all the people that fall. It is pride, it is pride, it is pride. Look at the people in your life that have a mess. A lot of time it's pride. So teach them humility through that way. The next one, 14, is very close to my heart. As young as possible, teach your kids communication skills with strangers. Okay, not go over to that stranger by yourself and give them a hug. That's not what I'm talking about. Like I'm saying, be able to talk to them, because we live in a world where everybody's like this, like closed off from everything, looking at their phones. We need to teach them to have eye contact, to talk to people, to be like bold. And so when they were little, one way I would do this is like, if we were at the store and they wanted to buy something, I would make them pay for it. They would have a separate transaction than me. They would pay for it. And they would have to look at the person, give them the money and all that. And then as they get older, different things, have them talk. And I think in life, no matter what they do, whether they go to college or whatever, if they have good communication skills, that is so much more important than, having an amazing degree or whatever and not being able to talk to people. So my oldest son is a plumber, because when he finished high school, he was like, oh, I'm never doing a class again. I'm free. He hates school. But he will do so well in life, whatever he does, because he is so good talking with people and he looks them in the eye and he's so friendly and all that. So teach them that. That doesn't just happen when you're 22. It starts when you're 2. And don't let them be rude. Some people's kids are like, when somebody says hi to them, like, don't let them do that. Like, that's so rude. Like, be nice. Teach them to be nice. The other thing is, some kids are very shy. So I have a son who's like hates this, and he's 13 now. Still, I'm like, no, you have to go. Like he's like, hey, can you find out if that? Okay, you call and find out. No, you got to do it. So like, some of them, their personality, this is going to be a hard one for them, but make them face their fears, because if they don't learn to face their fears right now, when they're, you know, off on their own, they're just going to freeze up, and we don't want that. We want them to be able to, you know, be successful and communicate. So I love that one. I just think it's so important to teach our kids to be able to talk to people. The next one is, 15 is hug. Again, so this is for the preteens. Even if they don't want to receive a hug, and especially if they don't want to receive a hug from their mom, you give them a hug, okay? And I'm serious, like it's so important. And especially when they're in middle school, they're stinky and they're smelly, and everybody is telling them they're stinky and they're smelly, but they need to know that their mom, no matter what, no matter how stinky, how smelly they are, their mom loves them unconditionally. So I will have, my son plays football, he comes in the house and I go to give him a hug, and he's like, oh mom, I'm so stinky. I'm like, I don't care. So sometimes later in life, they're gonna be stinky from other stuff, right? Not from football, from things they've gone through in their life, and they've just messed themselves up. But they need to know that no matter how bad it is, that they can come home and mom will give them a hug. So just make sure, I think one of the most important times to hug them is when they are in middle school and they're young boys, because nobody wants them around. Middle school boys, I have 2 right now. Not fun, okay? So next one is do not let them sulk. Number 16. So we have a rule in our house. If you're upset about something, you are not allowed to go to your bedroom. You have to stay in there. If you're mad, you cannot go off and be by yourself and feel sorry for yourself. You have to stay in the room. I literally will have them walk off, and I'm like, where are you going? Get back out here. You have to sit right here until you're over this. Because when you're alone and feeling sorry for yourself and all this, nothing good ever happens from that. So another thing is we give our kids like a time limit for feeling sorry for themselves. This is kind of weird, but we do. Like the boys have like 15 minutes. Like you can feel sorry for yourself for 15 minutes, but you have to sit right here while you do it. But then you're done. Like we're not gonna talk about this anymore. It's over. My daughter gets a little more time because she's a girl and she needs to process. Sometimes she might get up to an hour, depending on what it is. And there have been times, like there was something recently in the past year that was really hard for her. And she cried late into the night. And then the next morning when she got up, she went to say, you know, she had not been crying. And I was like, you know what? Let's leave that in yesterday. Because there's nothing talking about it. Like, I'm not saying don't talk through things. I'm saying just, like, that's not going to help. We got to move on. We got to let go. We got to not let bitterness or whatever sink in. So teach them to not sulk. Don't let them storm off when they're mad. Make them sit right in the middle of everything. So, number 17, love is kind. Just take them on special dates. I have 6 kids and I still figure out how to do this. So if you have one, this should be super easy. It doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes I'll just take them down to the beach, we throw the football, get them an ice cream, come home. Lately, since they're a little bit older, we go shopping for the things they need. So like, I need socks, I need this. So whoever it is, we get what they need, and we go to lunch and we talk. And there's this, I was gonna say about sometimes when you're doing that with kids, I wonder where that went. Hold on. Oh, that's later. All right. So just do special things with them. Make them feel special. Number 18, right? Is that where we are? Yes. Love is always hopeful. This is probably my favorite one here. I think I said that about like 3 already. Love is always hopeful. When they are little, talk to them about their future. Talk to them about their future with excitement. Talk about what they will do for a job, how it will make a difference in the world, not just about the money they will make. Talk about finding the right girl and what it will look like, and what to look for in the girl. Talk to them about praying for her right now. Talk to him about what a great father he will be and how fun it will be for him to have his own kids. And always talk about these things with a positive outlook. So many people are like, what do you want to be? What do you want to be with your life? Like, whatever, what do you want to achieve? And it's like, no, we need to be talking about the things that are important. Like it is going to be so exciting when you have a family, when you're a provider and you can take care of your family. We have to encourage them toward the things that are good and that will make a difference in the world. So, and always talk about their future with excitement. And I have like 6 pictures to show you of an example of this. My oldest son, Harrison, which I've mentioned many times because, you know, he's the oldest, so he's my favorite. He is amazing, but when he got married, I'm sitting right behind my daughter-in-law. I did not see this moment in real time, but our friend Jared videoed it, and when we got the video, I was like, oh my goodness, there's this scene. I wish I had it as a video clip. When he puts the ring on her finger, and he goes, it was so cute. I couldn't see because I was behind, but it was so special. He's been waiting his entire life for this moment because since he was little, I've been saying, you're going to have a wife one day and you are going to be the most amazing husband. And he's been so excited about it. So that was so special. And it was just such a beautiful day. But now, look at this. He is so excited about being a father, and he got two for one. So cool. They're very excited, and he just is constantly doting on them. Look at this cute picture. Oh, they're so cute. They love him already, and he just loves being a dad. So when they're little, talk to them about this time in their life, that one day they will have those things. Number 19 is another one that's very close to my heart. Invest in what lights up their life and gives them purpose. So this is going to look different for every single kid. Some of my kids are athletes, and that's what they love. And it's like, okay, we're going to invest in that. But some of them aren't. They're different, right? So I have one son, Wilson, who loves to like build things and make things. When he was little, he built these little stands all by himself with its tools that he had acquired. He saved money and bought some tools. And then he made this little business where he sold these keychains, and he hung them all up on this, and he made quite a bit of money at the little things. So he loved this. But it would take, we would go an entire Saturday. So that takes time, and I had to invest in helping him do it. So invest in them, in whatever it is that makes them super excited. He doesn't still do this, but he has other things he's into now. So just be their number one fan. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive, but like help them in whatever they're excited about. Like invest in that. And I don't mean money, I mean like your time and like your effort. So the next son of this is probably my favorite. Well, they're all my favorite, but when he was 2, he's my second son. When he was 2, one day I was nursing the baby in the other room, and he came in and he was like, Mom, come here. You gotta come see this. Well, he could barely talk, but he was like super excited. Grabbed my hand, he's pulling me in, and I thought he was like gonna take me into his room where I thought he was playing. He wasn't in there playing. He takes me toward the kitchen, and I'm like, what's going on? I come around the floor of the kitchen, I look, he had taken a permanent marker, and we were renting this house, by the way. It was like white linoleum. He had drawn the most beautiful picture on the entire floor, like up under the cupboards, like everywhere, and he was so excited to show me. And I could have at the time been like, what did you do? Like, but I knew, like, to him this is a masterpiece, right? So I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. And so we were like, he was showing me all the different parts. It was scribbles because he was 2, but he showed me this whole beautiful thing. It took me probably 6 hours to remove it with a dry, the little magic eraser. But from that moment on, I put away the permanent markers, and I always had paper and any, crayons, pens, markers on the table. So when he woke up in the morning, he didn't care about food. Some kids, what lights their light up is food, right? But he wanted to draw. So he would wake up, come to the table, and just start drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. So I learned, okay, he needs somewhere to draw. So he would come to the table and do that every morning. First thing he did. Fast forward, when he was a young boy, this is us hiking, okay? We were on a hike in California, and he brought his little briefcase. He had this briefcase, and it has all his paper because he wanted to draw the experience, right? The rest of us have backpacks and water bottles and all this, and he has his drawings, and he's very excited. And look, here we are, and he's sitting there drawing what he sees. So we always made sure he had the stuff he needed. A couple years, this is 2019, so we got him an iPad. I don't know if you see that iPad. Actually, it's this iPad. We got him an iPad for him to draw. This is 2019, this is 6 years ago. In 2021, he started, so this is Christmas 2019, really, so it's the end of the year. So at the beginning of 2021, 1 year later, he started making animations on this Flip-A-Clip app. I don't know if anybody has kids that likes to draw. And he started posting them on YouTube. And fast forward to now, this was 2021, he earned look at my other boys, it's like a mirror, they're making faces. He earned 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you know anything about YouTube, that's a big deal. He was, trying to do the math here, 16, okay? And then in 2024, he bought the house across the street from us. And then now he has his 1 million subscriber one, which if you know anything about YouTube, it's a pretty big deal. All because, I'm not trying to take I don't want to take the glory, but all because we invested in something that he was obsessed with. And so now he has 1.2 million subs, and he does very well, and he loves it. And in fact, this child, when he was little, right? April knows. I used to think, so if any of you guys have one of these kids,
I think I have one of his art things that he drew for me someplace.
No, I know, he would draw all the time, but I used to think, what is he gonna do for a job? Because he's so distracted. Everything, he has to be like, oh, I need to draw that. And and I used to think, he's never gonna make it. He is never gonna make it. And let me tell you, he's making it better than his brothers are, and he is loving it, and he is and his stuff, you want to check out his channel, it's like animations for kids, and adults like it too, it's like parodies. It's Blunt Brothers Productions, if you want to check it out. It's very funny, he's hilarious, he does everything. He does the music, he does the sounds, he does the stories, he does the voices, he does all of it. The entire thing is all him.
My son knows.
He probably does. A lot of kids, because his face isn't on it, they don't know him, but when they find out, they're like, oh, I've seen that before. So, yeah.
You said Blunt Brothers Productions?
Yes. So, and then, look, this is my table today. I took a picture. You see what's right here? We have paper and pencils because he comes over every morning to have coffee with us, and he takes one of those and he just draws on it. And I just have a stack of all the things that he comes over and he just draws while he drinks his coffee. And then he just loves to draw. So if your kid is into that or whatever they're into, so just invest in that. Give them an iPad. We'll get to the part about block off everything else, but just have they're just the drawing apps. It's amazing. The iPad really changed it for him because he could make them come alive. So he's actually right now filming a course to teach kids how to animate, not how to draw, but how to take their drawings and turn them into. Because he learned when he was a kid, so that's super fun. But moving on to number 20. There's I don't know if you remember when George W. Bush was the president, there was this No Child Left Behind thing. So we have a rule that's called No Brother Left Behind. We don't let any of them go anywhere alone. Just especially when they're young teens, nothing good happens when you're around a bunch of boys. But if your brother is there, they're gonna keep you accountable. So let's say they don't have a brother. So you could be like, oh, this is not good, they don't have a brother. Make sure there's a good friend that you trust and make sure they're there. Don't let them go off by themselves. So there are times where my boys can't do something because a brother isn't available. And I think it's important to make sure they always have somebody there that's got their back and will confront them if they're doing something that's not right. Number 21 is teach them to be cautious and talk to them about death. This is a weird one, but it is very important. My boys are dangerous, okay? So I'm not talking about just regular, everyday being crazy. But in the world we live in today, there are all these people on YouTube that are doing super dangerous things, and kids will then try to repeat them. And so you need to let them know, like, you literally could die, right? So, like, they need to know that we aren't Superman. We're not going to live forever. They need to be careful. Also, talk to them about death. My parents, from the time we were little, they would talk to us about death, not in a weird way, but like, you're going to die one day. Grandma died. You know, we would go to the funeral. My husband, on the other hand, was like sheltered from death and anything like that. And like as an adult, like it took him a while to be able to like handle like just being able to talk about death and all that. And so I think talk to your kids. I know it's kind of weird, but it's important because death is a huge part of life. And they need to know that they need to be careful and things like that. Because, it's kind of a weird one, but to me it's very important. Number 22, love keeps no record of being wronged. Always be available to talk, even when you are tired or busy. Let them know that no matter what, they can talk to you about anything. So the reason I have love keeps no record of being wronged is that, let's say your kid has done something not good, right? You want them to know that they can talk to you no matter what. So even if you're tired, even if you're busy, even if it will make you upset, that you're not going to disown them or chew them out or whatever. We've had some situations that were very difficult that our kids, went through. Faults of their own, sometimes not faults of their own. And the tendency to want to like freak out, it's like, don't do that. Like, be a safe place, because if you freak out, the next time something happens, they're not going to come to you because they're going to be like, oh great, they're going to freak out. So just be like a safe place to come to with their problems, and then don't hold it over them. Don't be like, oh, well, remember what you did last week? Like, don't keep a record of the wrongs. Just because it's funny, I've heard this before, like, we want everyone to see like Jesus in us, but we see the devil in everybody else. Like, we want people to forget when we've made a mistake. Like, we did something, or like, oh, please, like, forgive me, and don't remember that. So we need to make sure we're doing that with our kids, not constantly like, reminding them of their problems. For the teens, no wait, already did preteen. Oh, this is that. Remember when I was talking about the date? This is what I had lost. Okay, remember when I was talking about taking them on dates? Some of the kids are really quiet and it's hard to have conversation with. I have a couple it's like nothing. It's just gonna be me talking. This book is really good. It's just the questions. So like I can go in it and I can mark off which question I've gone through with each kid. And it's just simple questions to get conversation going. So back on the like date one, because as they get into middle school and stuff, sometimes it's like, what do we talk about? So this book is really, really good. It's on Amazon. Also when I said the thing, I'm lost here. Talking about the death thing. Being careful. So this right here was the first time ever. This is me at Nemours in Orlando at the same time in the ER, but my husband is at the ER in Longwood. So, yeah, we had never done that before. That was a achievement unlocked there. So he was there for a shoulder injury, and he was there for like some weird thing that happened, and then we went to the pediatrician, and she's like, get him to Nemours immediately. So, anyways, that was funny. We took these pictures, and they're like the same timestamp. So that was fun. So now we're to the teens. I don't know how many of you have teens. Do you have teens? If you don't, you will. Oh, you do. Okay. All right. So what is that first one? That first one is hug, hug, hug. Okay? Hug your teenagers. They aren't home as much when they're teenagers. Okay? So what I try to do, and I don't do it every time, but I try to. I'd say it's probably 80% of the time that one of my boys that isn't home all the time passes by me. I give them a hug. And they know that I'm going to hug them, and they are ready for it. So as they get older, you don't see them as much. So make sure that at any chance you have, give them a hug and make them hug you, like hold them. And they're like, Mom. But thankfully, none of my boys do that because they've been getting it since they were little. So, but I will tell you, my sister, her boys wouldn't hug her. She has four boys. they're similar in age to my older boy's age, and she's like, I don't know, your boys always hug you. And I'm like, just make them hug you. And she started when maybe the oldest one was like 16, and now all of them are always hugging her. So it's never too late to start doing this. Number 24. Are we okay on time? You sure? Okay. Number 24. Shoulder to shoulder. Love does not demand its own way. Sometimes as moms, we want to have heart-to-heart talks. When your boys are teenagers, not all of them, but a lot of times, teenage boys do not want to have a heart-to-heart talk.
Would you say does not demand?
Does not demand its own way. So, something I've learned is doing what's called shoulder to shoulder instead. I think I read that in a parenting book. Okay, so maybe I've read 2. But it's not, it's being with them whatever they're doing. So what do you want to do? So that's why it says does not demand its own way. It's not like, we're doing this, you're coming along. It's, what do you want to do? Like, because you want to be, not their friend. Like, you know that whole thing, like, don't be your kid's friend. I don't know if I really agree with that. Like, yeah, you're their mom. You do want to be their friend too. Like, I think you can be both. So, like,
their mom first. And
yes, yes. So it's going where they are. Do what they're doing. Don't try to pull them into your world or your agenda. Step into theirs. What are they doing? I don't like video games, but I like Tetris. So we'll play Tetris on the Xbox together, okay? We do these like family sports nights where we go out and play football all together. And another thing is to reach their heart or their shoulder is through food. My kids love food. So they're like, we have a special, so we have something called like dinner in the woods. We have like property where there's like woods and we have like a whole table, and so like once every once in a while, well now we're trying to do it almost every week, but like we're gonna eat outside. Oh mom, get, you know, root beer in the glass bottle, like all this, and they just love that. Like, what are we eating? And I'll randomly pick who gets to pick the dinner, and like just be special and do what they want to do. Right now they want to sit around and drink glass bottle soda, okay? So that's what we're doing because they all love it and it's fun. And the other thing is they bring their friends. And this age is very important. Think about when you were a kid, or when you were a teenager, the friend who had the fun mom. Why was she the fun mom? Because the friends were invited. And at this age, you invite the friends. And I know some people are like, ooh, this cramps my style, but that's demanding your own way. We have taken, look at this, 4 of these kids are not mine. And we went up to the mountains, and we took 4 friends with us to the mountains and went tubing. And guess what? Those 4 friends don't go anymore because the kids grow out of this. This is a short phase. There's a phase where they love being with their friends. And everything they do is exponentially more fun because their friends are there. And it's just a short season. Because my older boys now, they're like, oh, why are these friends here? Like, they just want it to be the brothers and the family. Like, as they get older, they grow out of it. It's just a short phase, okay? So invite the friends. Next thing is, this one's kind of funny. I read this to my family, and I think my brother-in-law almost choked on his food. He couldn't believe I had this on here. Be open about puberty. So I have love endures through every circumstance. In our house, we are very open about puberty. We will let everyone be aware, hey, this brother, so my daughter is too young, so we haven't gone through that yet. So I might have a different story at the end of this. But like with the boys, we will let everybody know, not like send out a public service announcement, but say, hey guys, this brother is not feeling well right now, and who knows how long. Just give him patience, right? They get angry, they cry. Interestingly, the kids of mine that were really, really emotional as toddlers or toddlers or young boys, when they went through puberty, they were like super mellow. The ones that were like easygoing as toddlers were an emotional wreck when they went through puberty. So they're all different. My oldest son, he would always be like, Mom, I need a hug. My second son is like the one who animates. It's like, it didn't happen. I honestly couldn't tell you when it happened. He went from being a little boy to being a grown man with a beard in one step. And I don't even know, but when he was little, April knows, everything was huge. Like, he would cry about everything. Everything was this very exciting or very sad or he's very emotional. So, but when he went through puberty, it was easy. My third son, who was stoic as a little boy, when he went through puberty, he was crying, and I don't even think he cried when he was little. I was like, what is this? He's like 13, 14, and that was during COVID. So that was hard too, everything was crazy, and he's just crying all the time. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then the fourth son, super angry, like ragey. And then the fifth son is just really hard on himself. Everything is, oh no, what did they think? What is it? They just need to be loved. Everybody needs to know, hey, be nice to them right now. They're not feeling well. And I just think about how you feel, depending on how bad you get PMS, but think about how you feel just before your cycle comes, right? You just feel crazy in the head. These boys feel like this 24/7 for however long it lasts. I think it's I don't know, 6 months to a year maybe. They feel like this 24/7. They do not get a relief from it. So we need to be extra patient with them when they're going through this. Because we expect everybody to be patient with us when we're not feeling well. I will never forget, this is like a side rabbit trail. Do you remember? Okay, so I was basically pregnant for 10 years. And remember when I was done having kids? One time April was over, I was like, April, I don't know what it is, but we are getting in a massive fight every month. And then April was like, did your period come back? Because my daughter was a baby. I was like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, I've never had a time where I would have this monthly thing. So it's so funny. So that's how they feel all the time. So we need to just be patient with them. Number 26. Say yes as often as possible. Save your no's for when it really matters. So when you do this, when you do say no, they realize it's very important. So for my son, Jamie, right now, he likes to go, with friends a lot. And I know I have the no brother left behind policy. Well, Wilson, who's just right under him, really doesn't like going out and doing things. So we have a friend who's been their friend since they were little. So he's kind of like the adopted brother. So he can go if he goes. And so we'd be like, hey, can I go? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I try to say yes as often as possible. He's 15. But a couple months ago, or no, it would have been a year ago now. For whatever reason, one day when he was like, hey, after football, can I go? And I was like, no. And he was like, what? I don't know. I just had this intuition of, I don't want you going. I don't know if something would happen, maybe not. So, and he didn't question wait, what? Because I don't say no very often. So when I do say no, they're like, oh, okay, must be a good reason, So that's why it's very important to say yes. It's a lot of things. And a lot of times we say no when we could say yes just because it's an inconvenience to say yes. And our kids need to learn how to, when we ask someone who's over us for something, we want them to say yes. So just be the same. Say yes as often as you can. Except for there's a few very, very important no's, okay? I don't know, do you guys have the important no's on there? I don't think so. I'm going to tell you, I have 3 extremely important no's. Say no to a phone as long as possible. We do not need, when you do need to give them a phone, okay? Which would be, I would say, maybe somewhere between 13 and 16. Our older boys, it was when they could drive, and then the younger ones is whenever they started playing sports. So they were, we need to get a hold of them. But we restricted their phones basically to a walkie-talkie. So they could only call whoever we put in, and they could only receive calls from whoever we put in. And that is completely possible to do. I could do a class on it. I could teach you all how to do it. It is possible. You can restrict a phone down to doing nothing except for what you want it to do. The problem is that the cell phone companies and all these companies, they make it very difficult. And it's like a full-time job for me to manage, but I've figured out, and then every time there's a stupid iPhone update, I have to relearn it all. But it is possible, and there are some times where your kids do need a phone, and there's a way to block it. And a lot of people now do Apple Watches for their kids, but the Apple Watch also has Safari on it, so you have to make sure that's blocked. I recently was thinking about this analogy, and it might seem extreme, but I'm sorry if you don't agree with me on this, but I'm going to stick with this. Giving a child a phone with no restrictions is like giving a thirsty child a cup of water to drink with poison in it and expecting them to figure out how to filter the poison out themselves. Self-regulation should not be something a child should have to manage. We should not expect our kids to learn how to be responsible on a phone at a young age. It is, I'm going to say child abuse, and you could disagree with me, that's all right, but I know so many children who were friends with my kids who say, I wish my mom had put restrictions on my phone like your mom did. And there was a girl I was talking to recently, and she said she begged her mom to put it on her younger sister's phone because her younger sister's like 10, 13 years younger than her. And she begged her, Mom, please put restrictions on her phone. And she didn't. So when we were younger, we didn't have this, okay? So put restrictions. If you don't know how, ask April to schedule a time. I will come and I will show you all how to do it because it is possible. But I had a friend who went to the Apple store and said, my friend has her phone like this for her son. And the guy's like, oh no, they don't do that. Our phones don't do that. They don't even know. At the Apple store, they don't even know that it's possible because they don't want us to know. Another one I would say no, a very important no, is to say no to certain friends. If you have a motherly intuition that this friend is not a good friend, just say no. Don't argue about it. Don't give reasons. Just say, because I don't know. I just don't want you around them. One of the red flags for a friend that you should say no to is a friend that's sneaky. And we're talking about here, teenager ages. A friend that's sneaky is a major red flag. If they're sneaking around doing things and their parents don't know, and you're the fun mom, right? So a lot of times the sneaky kids let their guard down around the fun mom. But then you realize, oh, your parents don't want you doing this, but you're doing it, and you're willing to say it in front of me because I'm the fun mom. It's like, nope, you're done. I've lost friends because I will not let my children hang out with their kids anymore. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. A very close friend. And I'm like, sorry, my kids are not hanging out. And I didn't say it, but you could tell because we were not. Like, hey, can the kids come over? Oh, no. Hey, can the kids come over? Oh, no. It's a hard one, but it's very important. I would say always stick with your motherly intuition. We've had times and situations where we knew something wasn't right, couldn't put our finger on it, ended up finding out it was so much worse than we thought. So whatever you have, like this intuition against, stick with that. Okay, we're rounding up. We're almost done. Okay, number 27. When they get their permit, okay, right at 15, on their 15th birthday, ladies, you let them drive everywhere. I let my kids drive away from the DMV with their permit. Why? Because we need them to be responsible men who can drive a car, and by the time they're 16, we need to know that they can drive on their own. So as soon as they have that license or that permit, you let them drive all the time. This was taken on I-95. A friend took the picture, but don't you love how he's not looking? The day after he got his permit, he drove on I-95 to go to Port St. Lucie, and it started pouring. And he was like, and my husband's like, you can do this, you can do this. Like, believe in them. If you believe in them, they can do it. So let them drive. And if they weren't watching TV when they were younger, you won't need to teach them where to go. They're already gonna know where everything is. All right? So I'm serious. I've never had to tell my kids how to get around town. Now we're moving to young adults. I have 3 right now. Side note, my third son leaves on Thursday to propose to his girlfriend in Virginia. So he got the ring. It came last week. We're very excited about that. So we have 3 young adults right now. 2 of them. So second son lives across the street. He bought that house, and the son with the twins lives next to him. So they're all still right there. And the 18-year-old who's proposing still lives at home. So we're all still right there. It's just amazing. So young adults, number 28, what are we supposed to do? Hug, hug, hug. So this is what is amazing. My grown children walk in the door, they're looking for me to give me a hug. I promise you it happens. It will turn around where you will no longer have to go to them. They come to me. They come in, they're like, Mom, you didn't hug me, or they give me a hug or whatever. All three of the older ones. They are very, very, very sweet. I have this picture of my son. This is his wedding. We were during the dance. So he's the best hugger of all of them. When he was little, he read some statistic that you needed like 7 hugs in a day to be healthy or something. And he was like, Mom, I didn't get my 7 hugs. So he's so sweet. Number 29 is if they live with you, make them pay rent and make them respect your rules. So we don't give them curfews or whatever once they're paying rent. But like if we have a rule in the house, like we don't watch rated R movies, we don't listen to this music, they do not do that in our house because this is our house and they are a visitor in our home or a guest in our home. So also we expect them to not be rude to our younger kids. So like sometimes the older ones, when they grow up, they think like I'm the king. Well, once they're 18, they're like, you're not the king anymore. Like you're a guest in our house. So you can't push around the little ones or make them, whatever. So thankfully we haven't had to deal with that much, but just that they understand they're a guest in our house. They pay rent. They don't pay that much rent. Basically it pays for their food because food is so expensive. But next one is number 30. Love never loses faith. Don't let your kids' mistakes shake your faith. Maintain the joy of the Lord even when you want to curl up and cry. We do not want to be defined by our failures, so don't do that to them. Encourage them to use their mistakes to make the world a better place by sharing with others what not to do. I've seen it a lot. I was raised in a sheltered Christian home. I was homeschooled. People that we knew were all very similar. And when one kid goes off the rails, the entire family goes off the rails. It's like their whole identity is in that everybody is put together. So don't let your kid making a major mistake, make you be like, forget the whole thing. It's not worth it. Stay close to the Lord. Show them that I'm not going to let this, mess with me and God. We got to work this out and have, faith that God can work through it. We have one son in particular who went through a very, very difficult time. And as he's gotten older, he looks back and says, wow, that was crazy. And he likes to talk to people about it, use it for hey, watch out for this. Don't do this. Don't fall for this. I fell for this. So help them turn their mistakes around. Number 31. This one is embrace their girlfriends with open arms. So this is my daughter-in-law. This is the girl that's about to get the ring in the middle. And this is my daughter. So I love my son's girlfriends. Any girl that comes into their life, and I didn't say what it was. Love is not jealous. Because I used to think when I was younger, when the boys were little, how in the world am I going to let them have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever? It is so fun, especially if you have a lot of boys. It is so fun. I love their girlfriends and my daughter-in-law. They're just amazing. So embrace them with open arms. And if there's something that you don't like about this girl, if they're underage, then say, you know what? No, this is not happening. So that whole motherly intuition. So I'm not talking about that. Don't embrace, if they're underage, don't embrace a girl that is a sleazy slut, right? We don't do that. No, this girl is bad. You're not doing this. But once they're an adult, there's nothing you can do about it. So you embrace them, yet you talk to them. So I had talk to them about it if there's something that you have a concern about with the girl. Talk to them about it, listen to them, but don't hold back. If you have a motherly thing, you say, I don't know what it is, but there's something I just don't like. Or if there is something say, hey, this is not what you want in a wife, right? I'm seeing this. You don't want this in a wife. So, but even so, embrace them, because if you don't, they're not going to come around anymore. You want your kids to come around. So love the girlfriends and it's so fun. I love these two girls. They're just outrageously amazing. So number 31, is that what we're on now? Love never gives up. So kind of like we just talked about with the girlfriend thing, don't ever be afraid to share things that you feel are important. Knowing that they are adults and ultimately can make their own decisions. If you see something, talk to them about it. If you've saved your no's throughout their life, and you've always said yes, when you do have a concern or you have something you're like, they're gonna listen to you. So talk to them about it. Be open with them about it. Another thing is there's this idea that like I've heard before, like don't give unsolicited advice. Let them know like if you want my opinion, you ask me and I'll give it to you. I don't really agree with that. Like I'm their mom. If I see something that could hurt them, I want to tell them. I don't care if they're 2 or if they're 22. Like I see something, and I'm not talking about every tiny little nitpicking thing, but there was something, my oldest son, he had done something and I was like, okay, you know, he's married, he has his own kids, whatever, but like, why did you just do that? And he had put something out on the internet and I'm like, okay, can you take that down, please? And he was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like I brought up like why it shouldn't be up there. He had made like this like joke thing, but sometimes they don't know what they're joking, even at 22. Like I'm like, I don't think you're like, don't do that. So he was like, oh, I didn't even think about that, and he took it down. Now, had I constantly been nitpicking, nagging about, I don't like when you tell that joke, I don't like when you say that to your sister, they're not gonna hear me. But he took what I said, thankfully, and took it down. All right. So this part in Ezekiel I recently read, and I saw it for I saw it in a new light. It's the part where Ezekiel is given a message to go preach to the people, and it's like a terrible message, like you're all gonna die or whatever. Poor Ezekiel, but I have it up here. So this is the part that I think is amazing. You know, this part is kind of weird. Number 25, there, son of man, you will be tied up with ropes so you cannot go out among the people. That's so weird. And I will make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth so that you will be speechless and unable to rebuke them, for they are rebels. But the but is amazing. When I give you a message, I will loosen your tongue and let you speak. Then you will say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. So my prayer is, Lord, make my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth when it's something that's coming from me, right? I don't want to speak the things that are coming from me. But when it's something that God would want them to hear, like, show me, like, this is something you need to speak to them about. So I just love that, like, that we can, like, Lord, keep me speechless and unable to say something. And then save my no's for what you want to be a no, not what I want to be a no. And then wrapping up, I have a bonus round. All right, so you probably were like, wait, we did not talk about discipline. So I don't like talking about discipline. It's not fun. Most parenting books are mostly about discipline. We're just gonna do like a speed round real quick. None of what I just talked about for the last hour or whatever matters if your kid is unruly and terrible, all right? So you really need to discipline your kid. There's nothing worse than a child who is undisciplined. It is literally the saddest thing. It is child abuse. If you do not discipline your child, it is child abuse because everyone hates that child. I have a friend who has a child who is unruly, and it's not his fault because he's just been allowed to do whatever he wants. But no one likes him. No one in my family likes him. No one likes him. Why? Because his mom let him just do whatever he wants. So you need to discipline your kid. You need to give them rules and boundaries. Whoever said it earlier, kids love boundaries. They need them. They might not tell you they love them, but they need them. In Proverbs 19, it says, discipline your child while there is hope. Otherwise, you will ruin their lives. My brother-in-law is a discipline specialist at a high school, or he's at a high school now, but he used to be at elementary school. And he said, it was something like this, like discipline them now or you're going to have to do it later. Like either do it now or you're going to have to do it later. And when they do it later, it's going to be much harder and it will be much worse. And the consequences are much bigger than when they're little. So I would say start young. Don't allow them to scream. This unnecessary screaming. Do not let them do that. However you want to not let them do that, you figure that out. Do not let them scream. This one people don't like, I don't care. Spank for direct disobedience or hurting others. So some people take spanking over the top and they spank for everything. I don't think that's right. I think it should be reserved for direct disobedience. Like, I told you not to do that and you just did it. Or I told you to do that and you didn't do it. Or if they've hurt other people. Those things, they need to be, at a young age, they need to be spanked. Proverbs 23:13 says, don't fail to discipline your children. The rod of punishment won't kill them. Proverbs 13:24, those who spare the rod of discipline hate their son. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. That one right there, that's the main one. I don't care if you don't agree with me, fine. But if you don't agree with God, that's a different story. Like, it's right there. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to read it again. Those who spare the rod, so the rod of correction is spanking them, of discipline, hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. You literally hate your kids, and it's child abuse if you do not discipline your child, if they're out of control. It's so sad. It's the saddest thing. So what this looks like is, I would say, make sure you do it swiftly and make sure it does hurt. Some people, they're barely touch them. That's not it. And what I mean by swift is you can't wait. Like, if kids don't understand like that. So right when it happens, deal with it. Don't wait 10 minutes and say, remember what you did, 10 minutes ago? That's not it. You got to deal with it right away. And make sure I'm not saying cause any marks or anything. I'm just saying make it painful. Flick them on the finger or on the hand. I don't know. Enough to where there is a consequence. It teaches you did this and this is going to happen. Because in life, you do something wrong, something bad is going to happen. And they need to know that. But again, never punish them for just being a boy. If they're just being a boy and being rowdy, don't punish them for that. Also, there's this one, never shame them. I cannot stand. A lot of times people who don't spank shame their children, and that is horrible. You dirty rotten scoundrel, blah, 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 blah. And they just tear them down with their words, and they're just so mean, and they're breaking them down, and they're not that is not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to use our words to build up, and we spank them to show them a consequence, and then it's over. We don't dwell on it. We don't tell them they're dumb and they're stupid and I can't believe I hate when you do this. It's quick and over, right? And always discipline in love, never in anger. If you need a minute because you're really mad, then step away and come back. I just want to wrap up with these few thoughts. I think your pages are done, right? Okay. Guilt is a huge enemy of I did things so wrong. We have some scenarios, we have a handful of scenarios that are nightmare scenarios that have happened with our children, that we could live in that moment and feel all the things I did wrong. If I would have seen this coming, or if I would have known, then that wouldn't happen. We don't want to live in that. We don't want to live in guilt. We want to, I don't even want to give it a voice. Just move on. Learn from a mistake and move on. And don't beat ourselves up. Another thing I want to say is that we need to, in this time of raising our children, we need to set aside our dreams and goals and make raising them our dreams and goals. So I know that some people have to work, and that's not what I'm saying, but the thing that you're so passionate about and you give all your time to, and it's this is my thing, I am a this lady or whatever. Let your kids be your thing right now, because it's really short. Daisy, they grow up so fast. April knows, my son has 2 children. This is crazy. So it's temporary. And then you can do whatever you want. I'm at this phase where I'm I can pick what I want to do. So it's just a short time. Let them know that they are your goal. They are your hopes and dreams right now. It is such a short time in life. And if we do it well, they will become an asset to our lives and the rest of the world. So, as you invest in something to make a business grow or whatever, invest in your children, make them grow and make them an asset that will bless the world. Another one real quick is to say no to things that keep you from being a good mother or wife. You cannot do anything well if you're doing too many things. Busyness is an enemy, even if you are busy doing good things. I kind of touched on that when we were talking about like serving and your kids being your number one ministry, but I can struggle with this, like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I can do that. And then, you know, the house is a mess. The kids hadn't been hugged in a while, like all the things. So like, say no. There was that book, remember, it was like The Best Yes. The best yes is a no. So, God sees you as you see your kids. So when you think about how much you love them, like God loves you like that. And he loves you greatly and he wants the best for you. And so my charge to you is to be real, be honest, be yourself. Don't be fake. Your kids can tell when you're being fake. Just be you, because God picked you to be the perfect mother for your kids. And I have like 3 quotes I want to share that I'm reading this book, and this part just really was impactful to me. 10,000 people were asked in a poll, who has had the most positive influence on your religious faith? The most frequent answer from every age group was my mother. The second place response from men was my wife. But 10,000 people, their mom. So let's not get distracted with things that don't matter. And then this last slide, I just love these 3 quotes. Abraham Lincoln said, all that I am or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. This is Elon Musk's mother. You don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go out for dinner. Just spend time with the most wonderful gifts you can ever have, the children. And then Billy Graham said, of all the people I have ever known, my mother had the greatest influence on me. So you guys have a great calling, and I hope that you're encouraged and you have like some practical things, and I hope that you don't hate me because I told you not to give your kid a phone and did not let him watch TV and to give him a spanking. But no, not to watch TV in the car, I mean, not ever, but that's it.